Justin Ingram come up and explain your program, and let's get this rolling. Is Justin here? Come on up, Justin. Welcome. Yep.
Good morning, members of the Sen Ed Education Committee. My name is Justin Ingram, and I'm the director of this year's Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education, or as we call it, SABLE. I am proud to say that I speak on behalf of all the students here and for the 6.3 million students across California when I thank you all for giving us this opportunity to speak to you today. As we are personally affected by the policies in California's education system, it is refreshing to see representatives who are so willing to recognize and take into consideration the student voice of Californian students. With the current changes coursing through our education system, we believe now more than ever that there is a need for open dialogue between policymakers and the primary stakeholders of our education system. This morning, they will express to you their views, their personal experiences, and their testimonials for the purpose of bettering California's education system. Today, we stand together, representing over 6.3 million students, when we present 6 proposals focused on reforming the K-12 education system. These students represent the diversity of our state, with 51 delegates from all over our great state. Through their common experiences, they've decided to take a stance on 6 proposals: the student board member, standardized testing, the role of technology, the academic performance index, Common Core with the next generation science standards, and the Instructional Quality Commission. We understand that our time here is limited, so each presenter has prepared a 5-minute speech that we hope will be followed by a 10-minute question and answer period. They have done all of this as students whose entire futures have and will be shaped by the 13 years in the K-12 education system. The students of California have spoken, and I am proud to say that their voices will be heard. Thank you again, honorable state senators, for not only listening to California's student voice, but making it a priority. Thank you. And now I'd like to welcome our first group addressing the student board members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, esteemed senators and valued community members. My name is Kyle Marion, a junior attending Beverly Hills High School in Beverly Hills.
Hi, my name is Ethan Kwan, and I'm a sophomore from Canyon High School in Anaheim.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Kaplan, and I'm a senior at Tesoro High School in Orange County.
Hi, I'm Sandra Lowe, and I am a senior at Troy High School in Orange County.
We are here on behalf of the Student Advisory Board on Legislation in Education, or SABLE, promoted by the California Association of Student Councils, CASC, which represents the 6.3 million students across California. Our group has worked to analyze the current role of the Student Board Member, or SBM, on local school districts across California. Before I introduce our proposal, I want to tell you about the upsetting situation that inspired it. In the fall of 2013, the board president of the Beverly Hills Unified School District single-handedly eliminated the SBM position without formal consent of the other board members, nor the consult of the community. As a result, a crucial source of student input and an avenue to hold the local education system accountable was completely done away with. This situation has set a negative precedent for the future of Beverly Hills Board of Education, with the newly elected president threatening to eliminate the position after students had fought to bring it back. Currently, there is great ambiguity in the regulations listed in the Education Policy Code 35012 that details the position of district student board member. This ambiguity has resulted in the loss of student voice throughout school districts in California, such as the situation in Beverly Hills. In order to protect this position, there must be a formal process for the elimination of the student board member position on district boards of education. We propose that the process require a majority vote on behalf of the District Board of Education for the elimination of the student board member position, specifically a 2/3 majority, and a necessity to place the elimination of the position on the Board of Education's agenda allowing for open discussion with the public and the creation of a public record.
When we researched policies surrounding student board members, we found that there's a lot of ambiguity with SBMs and what the districts can do with them. In our ideal world, we would like to require that all districts have SBMs, but that currently is not a feasible solution. So instead, we want to protect the currently existing student board members and ensure that they are able to continue to represent the students of California. I want to make clear the distinction between the removal of the individual and the elimination of the office itself. What we are trying to regulate is the latter. Presently, the board may remove the office of the SBM at any time and in any way because there are no laws stating that the elimination of the student board member position requires a majority or unanimous vote, or any vote at all. When the district board, when the decision to eliminate the student board member office is not treated like any other decision a district board typically makes, it demonstrates a lack of respect for student voice and opinion. The position of the student board member is completely optional and up to discretion of the local governing board. Hence, it is imperative that we do what we can to protect the student board members in the districts that do have them. So we believe that the best way to start is by requiring a 2/3 majority vote and an open meeting to eliminate the office in the case that the board should decide to do so.
In addition to our previous recommendation, we would also like to reintroduce Bill AB 1007 with modifications. Currently, in the Education Code 35012, in Section D, the process of establishing a student board member, or SBM, position is outlined. It states that once a petition of either 10% of the district population or 500 signatures is submitted, the local school board is required to create a student board member position. However, the time between the submission of this petition and the appointment of the office is not specified. This has proven to be an issue in the LA Unified School District, where in the spring of 2014, after the submission of a qualified petition, the response took a total of 108 days. As of February 2015, to this day, there's still no mention of a student representative in the LA Unified School Board. The LA Unified is the second largest school district in the entire country, meaning the 635,000 voices that are screaming to be heard are effectively silenced by the LAUSD's failure to appoint an SBM. Additionally, these cases are scarce due to lack of publicity, which is why we are advocating the treatment of elimination of this position as a formal agenda item. These events have only been brought to yours and our attention through personal experience, making it nearly impossible to determine how frequently student voice is being silenced in this manner.
In order to prevent this from happening in the future, we propose adding an amendment to the Ed Code directing that the school board appoint a student representative within a 60-day period after the receipt of the petition. This is not a new bill. This solution has already made it through both State Senate and State Assembly in 2009 as AB 1007. And it made it all the way to Governor Schwarzenegger's desk, where it was vetoed. The governor's official stated reason for vetoing the bill was that he was, quote, unaware of any school board intentionally withholding action on a student representation petition, end quote. As the situation in LA Unified School District demonstrates, intentional withholding action on these petitions can and does occur, meaning that it's necessary to propose this solution again because it is still relevant. Since Ed Code 35012 already requires a response based on the receipt of a completed petition, it is rational for the response from the board to be received in a timely manner.
With more emphasis being placed on the local level in recent policies, we feel strongly that this is a relevant topic of interest to the Senate Education Committee. legislative bodies have already integrated student voice in the implementation of the LCAP and LCFF, and our proposal is another way to have the student voice heard at all levels. We, the students of California, envision SBMs across the state maintaining strong, open relationships with the other school board members and the students that they serve. However, we cannot move towards this goal if the student board member position can be eliminated by one board member alone without the consent of the others or the knowledge of the public, like what happened in Beverly Hills. Ultimately, protecting the role of the student board members where they exist will guarantee that we can continue to move forward with increasing student voice in education and not backwards with student board member offices at risk of being taken away suddenly without a formal vote from the entire board. Furthermore, acting on a hard-earned student-led petition for a student board member position within 60 days ensures that their hard work is validated in a timely manner and that the appointment is not dragged out indefinitely. With the passing of these proposals, we will ensure that what happened in the Beverly Hills and Los Angeles school district does not happen again in any part of California. Student board members should be able to focus solely on empowering students to embrace their roles as stakeholders in their education. Students will be united by SBMs to share the common goal of improving the education system together with district officials, teachers, local administrators, and legislators. We urge you to support us in protecting this vital source of student insight on a local level. Thank you. We are now open to questions and feedback.
Thank you very much for that presentation. A couple of quick questions I had, more procedural. Do all of your schools have student board members?
Well, from my school, I go to Beverly Hills High School, and we currently do have a student board member, but in the fall of 2013, the position was removed, and currently the president of the school board desires to take away the position again.
So just the board president can do that
Yeah, at this current
arbitrarily?
time, he can just do that.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I would also like to add on to that. I am aware that my school district has a student board member and who's active, but many of my classmates do not know that, and we also are unaware that it's something that we can apply for, and we are aware who it is that represents us. We do not know who it is or who their name is.
Well, Troy is in my district, and it's a very high-performing school, as I recall, so they probably keep you too busy to know how to apply anyway, right? Anyway, thank you very much for that clarification. And sometimes it is just knowledge about how you can be a part of the process, but you make a very valid point. We just looked back. I'm pleased to say I supported that AB 1007 back in 2009, thank goodness. Otherwise, you guys would be peeling my skin back, I'm sure. But any other questions from members? Connie? Excuse me, Senator Leyva.
You can call me Connie, that's just fine. Good morning. Thank you all very much for being here. Excellent presentation. I agree with you 100% that you should have representation on the board. What can we do to be helpful?
Well, I think advocating for this specific passage of the specific legislation will, of course, within your committee and then throughout the Senate as a whole, and then hopefully as it progresses to the Assembly later on. So I think our goal, and we should hope it will be your goal as well, would be to keep this on the agenda and to make sure that it is very much a part of the legislative agenda so that it doesn't die out.
So keep it on the agenda
Yes.
until it gets passed.
Yes.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for being here.
Quick clarifying question. Is there a bill being introduced right now? Is there a bill, or is it just you want the language of what was there in AB 1007?
We would like the language to be included in ours because it was previously vetoed. So now we want to reintroduce it into circulation.
Got it. Thank you very much. Dr. Pan.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I admit when I was a little younger, I've helped lobby my school board when I was in high school around some issues around student activity fees. So to what degree do student board members actually exist at all in California state law? So I know you're proposing things, but for example, are they even to what degree are they actually recognized? I mean, is it mentioned in the state law or the ed code, student board members actually exist, or are we actually creating a new thing in California state statute?
Yeah, so in Ed Code 35012, the student board member position does exist. There is no limit on how many student board members there can be in a district, and the way they are introduced, the position is introduced, is by a petition of either 10% of the student body signing off or 500 students, whichever is less. And so with the Ed Code comes a possibility for a preferential vote, which means that the student board member can input their opinion on a topic and have a sort of informal vote, which isn't necessarily counted into the Board of Education's for the district's vote on a topic, but it's considered an opinion, and they are a member of the board.
Okay, so
Yeah, that is outlined in the Ed
So the
Code.
statute basically says there's a procedure for establishing one.
But no procedure for the elimination of the position.
Right, right. Okay, all right. There's a procedure for, I'm just trying to clarify what actually is in the code right now. So there's a procedure for establishing one. Obviously, you're pointing out the fact that that there's nothing in the procedure. It says when the board itself will act. And there's some limited language about potential voting, well, actually no voting rights, right? I mean, it sounds like they can exert opinion. And there's nothing in the actual code about, aside from establishing the position itself, how that person would be selected, right? Is there anything in state law that says anything about that, or is that just up to?
In the Ed Code, it says that the student board member can either be selected by the student body or by a screening process desired by the Board of Education for that district.
In addition, the current Ed Code, it states that after the student submits a petition, they are required to establish that office after receiving the petition, but it doesn't state by when or for how long that petition, that they have to respond to that petition.
And just to clarify, in Beverly Hills, they're eliminating the person who's in the position, or they're eliminating
The
the
removal of the
position?
entire position, not just the candidate.
Yeah, but the office itself.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Senator Blount?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize, I had to get here late. I was at another breakfast meeting before this. So if I'm asking something that's already been answered, forgive me. AB 1007, I did support that. It didn't make it through the legislature?
No, it did not.
Okay. So do you have an author for it?
No,
Sorry.
it made it through both
made it
the
through-
Senate and the committee.
Who was governor at that time?
Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Not a partisan question, just wasn't sure what time.
I voted for the bill, so I'm okay.
And do you have an author to reintroduce that language at this point?
No, we do not have any knowledge of the bill being currently on the table, but it is something that we would like to suggest to the committee to bring back into circulation and bring it back to the table to talk about.
All right. Are you all visiting offices today?
Not today. We visited offices yesterday.
Nobody came to see me. You may want to, at some point, start to target who you want to author such a bill. You have the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate here. You've got some other members who may be interested. So that's probably our next discussion. Thanks.
We are hoping that one of you will liken up and support us in doing so.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Absent any more questions, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice presentation. Okay, now if the audience is going to get the full appreciation of the experience being in here, we do not clap. Now, if you want to raise your hands or do something like that, that's fine, but we don't. We do have some decorum here. Thank you. Next up.
I'd like to now introduce a group focused on standardized testing. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the Sen Ed educational hearing.
Thank you. Good morning, honorable members of the Senate Education Committee. My name is Amanda Parker, and I attend Lincoln High School in Stockton.
Morning. My name is Melinda Guo, and I attend Valencia High School in Placentia. Hello, my name is Ramon Kaufman. I attend Santa Susana High School in Simi Valley.
We, the students, are indispensable advocates for what does and does not work in our education system, and therefore should play a vital role in developing the policies that shape our destinies. The California High School Exit Exam, or the CASE, has not been updated since its first administration in 2006. If my passing of the CASE should give me reassurance that I am prepared for life beyond high school, why is it that I am still afraid? The content of the CASE has not been updated since I was 8 years old. I was still listening to music on my Walkman. I looked like Hermione from the first Harry Potter movie. My dad still had hair. In Senate Bill 172, Senator Liu proposes that we suspend the administration of the CASE for the next 3 years. As the Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education, we support this suspension of the CASE. Moreover, Senator Liu's bill would require that the superintendent convene an advisory panel of stakeholders to provide recommendations regarding the continuation of the high school exit exam or alternative pathways to high school graduation. The superintendent would then report to the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. Contingent on the passing of SB number 172, we recommend that the definition of stakeholders in Section 1 be extended to guarantee the inclusion of at least one high school representative on the advisory panel to the superintendent. Our hope is that the eventual high school exit exam be aligned with Common Core standards. However, this cannot be realized without the input of students, as students are the core of education, the largest stakeholders of all.
My partner introduces valid points. The California High School Exit Exam, or CASE, has been implemented as a graduation requirement since 2006. For 9 years, this test has been given to all high school students and has been one of the key determining factors in whether or not they graduate. With this being the case, one might think that the CASE is a close reflection of what standards students are expected to learn throughout high school. Though that may have been the case when the CASE was first implemented, it is no longer relevant now that the standards have been changed, but the CASE remains the same. In order to optimize standardized tests going forward, the Student Advisory Board on Legislation and Education proposes the addition of a student to the advisory panel addressed in section number 3 of our written proposal, so that the individuals being tested may actually give feedback on the test and therefore close the disparity between the curriculum taught and the standards tested.
My colleague brings up an important point. The curriculum taught in school should align with the standards being tested. A high school exit exam that reflects Common Core standards should replace the CASE. The original purpose of the California High School Exit Exam, or the CASE, was to, according to Senate Bill number 2, Section 1B, significantly improve pupil achievement in high school and to ensure that pupils who graduate from high school can demonstrate grade-level competency in reading, writing, and mathematics. A general high school exit exam should still reflect this primary goal. However, recently, education has evolved into conforming to Common Core standards, which is a movement the Student Advisory Board on Legislation in Education supports. And in order to adhere to the evolving education standards, the new high school exit exam should be created to match this increased implementation of Common Core in California's education system. The implementation of Common Core should require test takers to develop creative ideas through critical thinking that is initiated through open-ended questions rather than memorizing existing facts. For these reasons, we, Sable, speaking on behalf of the students of California, propose a new high school exit exam that accurately adheres to the updated education standards of Common Core.
As a summary for your consideration, we, Sable, propose an amendment to Senate Bill number 172 that expands the advisory board to Superintendent Torlakson to include representation by high school students for high school students, so that a test may come about that better represents the curriculum taught in California high schools.